This conference will now be recorded.
Hello everybody. Good evening. Let us start for the day. So in the previous session, we have taken the overview. So specifically, we told that basically there are three tools available in the project management, which is those are you can say WBS element, or you can say documents. That is the first one, project charter or documents. Then second is a WBS element, and third is going to the network. So let us look into about the WBS or work breakdown structure. Okay, so how we will approach, our approach will be first, let's see in theoretically what is WBS element, just to understand the concept. Then let's see in SAP how does it, how we can create it and how we can structure it. That way, go ahead and what are the configuration required to create that. That way, we will be proceeding for that. So this is the explanation for work breakdown structure. So a work breakdown structure, or WBS, that is a short form, is a fundamental project management technique for defining and organizing the total scope of a project using a hierarchical tree structure. So basically, WBS means there will be a scope, a lot of scope which you need to complete it in a project. That scope, you need to structure it or break it into smaller pieces or easily manageable pieces. So that's what we call it as a WBS element, or you can say one piece. Then that you do a structure in a tree hierarchical structure. For example, let's take our SAP implementation example. Suppose we need to do an SAP implementation. So SAP implementation, let's say in our previous methodology, SAP methodology is using. So SAP methodology is a phases. Okay, there will be certain phases are there, preparations, blueprint, like that. Then when it comes to a project, for example, you need to implement say 5 modules. So you can break down the total scope. For example, it has a overall as a project. Then first you will, the level 2, you will break down to saying that you have based on the phases, preparation phases, let's say, then go for blueprint phases, then realizations, final preparation, then go live, like that. So that is this level 2. Then under level 2, preparation, then you need a preparation. It is a common for across. Then when it comes to blueprint, yes, blueprint you can break down further, because you will have a blueprint for FICO, blueprint for MM, blueprint for SD, blueprint for FES, blueprint for PP, etc. Sorry, PP, etc. So similarly, if you go to the realization also, you can have it in a similar way. So that is what which is saying. So you need to have a hierarchical tree structure. Then the first 2 levels of the WBS element, the root node and level 2, defines a set planned outcomes that collectively and exclusively represent 100% the scope. So what does it mean? Let's say, for example, let's say this is our project. Okay, this is our SAP implementation. SAP implementation. Let's say this is our SAP implementation project. So this is what we call it as a root, the first one. Then under that, we can have a tree structure. Say, so the second level, normally we make it based on, for example, I need a preparation, then I have a blueprint, BBP, then I have a realization, then final preparation. So this way, then go live, you can structure it. So that's what the rule says, that this is level 1. So we call it as a level 1 or root level or node, root node. then level 2, then when it comes to level 3, like that. This is the hierarchical structure. This is what we call it as a WBS, work breakdown structure. You are maintaining it in a hierarchical way. So what is the rule says that the first two levels, the root node and the level 2, defines a set of planned outcomes that collectively and exclusively represent 100% of the project scope. So whenever you break down, you need to concentrate this. So if you remember, we talk about different methodologies used in the project management, right? For example, let me just take different methodologies we talk about. PMI, PMBOK we talk about, right? PMI, PMBOK. So basically the PMI, PMBOK, the phases are initiation, planning, then we'll say execution, then closing. This is what their phases. So for example, if you are handling, constructing a building based on PMI, this PMI standards, so how our structure will look like. For example, the root node level, this is the project name, let's say Tower B, you are creating a Tower B. Then under Tower B, you will have this 4 phases, let's say initiation, planning, execution, and close. So this is how it look like. It will be initiation, then this is planning, then this is execution, then this is closing. So basically the level 1 and level 2 will give you the 100% scope of the project. So that is what the major. Obviously level 1 represents 100%, but it will not give you any detail, but the level 2 will give you the total outcomes. So basically whenever we structure the WBS element, okay, when you are going for structuring the WBS element, so what we need to consider is level 1 is the project, then the level 2 will be your methodology. So whatever the methodology, for example, this is a PMBOK. Okay, in case you have agile methodology, then you need to go for discover, right? Discover, explore, deploy, you know, that develop, then deploy, this way, this kind of phases. So whatever the methodology you are using, the tool is same. So that's what I'm trying to explain. So whatever the methodology we say, so there is no need of doubt whether SAP is capable of handling agile project management, whether SAP is capable of handling PMI, whether it is capable of Prince2, whether it is capable of waterfall, there is no problem. Whatever the methodology which defines 2 things. The methodology will define, once the document will define the methodology. So obviously DMS is there in SAP, so you can use that documentation, and documents you can put it. Then second thing, how do you structure the WBS? That will define, the phases will define you what is the methodology you are going to use it. Okay, then what is the next rule says, the next characteristic, or you can say that at each subsequent level, the children of a parent node collectively and exclusively represent 100% the scope of the parent node. So whenever you create a child node, okay, under the, it means when your level 2 is created, then when you are going and creating the level 3, so you need to make sure whatever that comes under level 3 as a child of a parent WBS element, so the child should represent the 100% scope of the parent. So it should be, everything should be included here. For example, we said we can have a WBS element for BBP as a one phase WBS element. So when you are going for BBP, you are splitting as a third level by module. So if you are going to implement 5 module, FICO, MM, SD, PS, PP, like that, suppose. So in that case, all these 5 should be represented there. You cannot put 4 only and you avoid 1. So that way it should not be. So that's what it means. All the 100% scope should be considered in the child. Then there are different types of WBS break. This one we can call it as a strategy. What is the way? How you use the strategy for WBS element? Obviously, Level 2, we don't need to think about twice. Level 2 will be always, we will be referring based on our implementation methodology. So, or you can say, either you can say implementation or whatever, this project management methodology. So this project management methodology, again, each organization will have their own unique way of doing the project management, because all the project company, that is their key differentiator. That is how they will be getting the project and finishing the project and making the profit and all those things. So as far as the methodology is concerned, that is fixed. So level 2 is also fixed. Now what we are talking about is the next level 3 onwards only we need to see. So there are different strategy we can adopt. So again, this is only thing you need to know while doing the consulting. So once it is fixed, then it will be just simple, straightforward. There are different types of WBS is used. Sometimes we call it as a verb-oriented WBS. For example, a task-oriented deliverable project in the terms of action that comes to be. So in the terms of action, like that, design, develop, optimize, transfer, test, that way you can say. For example, we call it as like, the deploy, develop, explore. So this is a different way of, we are just giving the name certain verb, we are showing certain verbs. Then there are WBS element, which we call it as a noun oriented. So it will show you a kind of deliverable out of the WBS element. For example, module A, system A. Suppose if you are going for a building project and it is initiation, planning, that way you put it in a PMI standard. Then under execution, you need to split. I will say basement, then I will say superstructure. So whatever the way, so that you can have it in a way of how you are going to differentiate it. It can be a noun, something, an outcome will be there. Or you can have a time phased. The time phased is one of the used very long project. For example, phase 1, phase 2, that way also you can have it. So these are some of the naming conventions, or how the WBS is how the project is broken down into pieces. These are some of the examples. Now this is an example for an EPC project. We call it as a EPC project, or not that EPC in SAP. SAP EPC is referring to Enterprise Project Connector. That's a tool, but here normally EPC is known as a large projects, engineering, procurement, and construction project. Basically, as I said, in the previous class, with the Alstom or Chevron, like that big company, Siemens, Hyundai, Samsung, these kind of huge contractors, they do this kind of project. So basically they take the railway projects, or even L&T also similar to that. They also take a huge project. Then this kind of projects, basically this is on an example, will be their engineering, procurement, construction. These are your phases. This is the way they go it. Then we are having the work, for example, civil works, mechanical works, E&I, then same thing for procurement, then same. So this is what we are talking about. What we call it is a level 1, or we call it as a root level, root node normally. So this represents the entire project. Then this and this level 2 will give you your 100% scope. Then what we are talking about is the child of a parent should consider the 100% scope. So whatever the child you are creating under a parent, so your 100% scope would be considered. And here we have a level 4, whereas it is here the level 3. So now there are some design principles are followed. Just for design from the functional perspective, you can note it down. The 100% rule, the WBS include 100% of the work, define the project scope, which is, I already said, it has to be 100% the scope. Then always it should be planned outcomes, not planned actions. Okay, this is one thing which we need to consider. For example, whatever you are creating that WBS element, it should represent some certain kind of deliverable, or we can say some planned outcomes should be there, not that action. So action basically represents in the network, okay, and activity. So that is the reason which we need to be clear what is WBS and what is project network. So in the WBS, it will be always outcomes. Then level 2 is the most important, which we said most of the time we use it for the phases, or the methodology will be represented by the level 2. Then there are 4 elements in each WBS element. So each WBS element should contain the 4. That is the scope of work, including any deliverable. Okay, the beginning and end of the scope. So what is the total period required for that? Then what is the budget? Then name of the person responsible for the scope. So anyway, what I'm talking about is a generic principles, nothing specific to SAP. But surely SAP is a tool which can be used it for project management. Hence, all these things will be covered into that. Then mutually exclusive elements, yes, which we said, whatever is under one parent, the child should be only reference to that. Then it should not mix between two parents. That they need to be taken care. Then there is another important thing, which is normally you get confused and you get a lot of issues during the consulting. How far down? So how many levels you need to create? Okay. If you talk about SAP, SAP supports up to 99 levels. So what they are saying is an effective limit of granularity may be reached when it is no longer possible to define planned outcomes. Okay. So in certain level, when you break it down, then there is no more planned outcomes will not be there. Then it will be planned actions, and you can stop it there. So, and also it is no need to make it too granular. And there is another thing is if you have so many WBS elements, mostly basically if you have more than 500 elements, then it's not that easy to identify and handle it. Okay. So basically the recommendation is you go up to 5 to 6 levels maximum. It's below that it will be meaningless actually when you break it down too much levels. Okay. So that is what we need to consider that. Then there are some misconception about the WBS structuring. A WBS is not an exhaustive list of work. It is instead a comprehensive classification of project scopes. This is what we need to see it. Because some cases, I think in the previous session we discussed that, basically there are many departments involved in the project management. And as one of the department we talk about is a commercial project department. So what happened is commercial department, what they do, they prefer, they will be there, the people will be doing the tendering and all. So always they will try to dominate the project. So say a tendering guy or commercial guy is dominating a project, what he will do, he will always try to make the project structure based on his comfort. So it will be obviously the way the bill of quantities look like. So it will be a total exhaustive list of work will come, because it's from my experience I'm saying, because I have seen these kind of issues and later on we have corrected it. So what happened, people will create the WBSL as per BOQ. So then it will be 3,000, 4,000, WBS element, just structure, nothing will understand from that. And the person who is managing at site, the execution guy, he will not be able to handle it. Then this will become a problem. So always and always, even if you go for a PMI standards or anything, almost all the implementation methodology, they say give the ownership to the executing party. Who is going to execute the project? They have to take the ownership of the project, or you can say the plan, or you can say the structure. So always, whenever you are considering the WBS structuring, consider it from a implementation perspective, or you can say execution perspective. So that's what I said. So it is not an exhaustive list of work. So never ever allow that in your consulting field or consulting career, because that will be a difficult part to handle it. Because sometimes they will not listen. Then you finally say, okay, you create it. Later on, what happened? That implementation, then the blame will come on you later. Then a WBS is not a project plan or a project schedule, and it is not a chronological listing. It is considered poor practice to construct a project schedule before designing a proper WBS. So project plan or the task list schedule, that is something totally different. That is not a WBS at all. So why we have this misconception is, I don't know any of you are working in MS project, because in MS project there is no concept called a WBS. It is all task, summary task and task. So basically the people, they call the task also WBS element. So actually the summary task you can consider as a WBS element equivalent in MS project, but it is not the case actually. They have all task and summary task. So that is the reason most of the time people will misunderstand this schedule or task is same as WBS. It's not the case. WBS is something higher level, the way you are constructing it, structuring it into chronological order, and street structure and all those things, but it is not a schedule part, or it's not a list of tasks. It's not exhaustive list. Then the next thing you need to say, without concentrating on planned outcomes, it is very difficult to follow the 100% rule at all levels of the WBS element. Okay. So it's always the how you are going to break it. Always see there is some outcome is there from the one which you are creating a WBS element. Then the next you need to understand the WBS is not an organizational hierarchy. So for example, in your project there are 3 departments is working and you don't need to create 3 WBS only. Okay, this is a civil department, electrical department. No, it's not an organizational tree structure for this one. Always WBS need to be considered from the project perspective and from the execution perspective. So that is how it should be considered. Execution, and after execution, what you are going to achieve from it. That's an outcome perspective. Then the next one is all path on a WBS do not go down to the same level, which I have shown you here, right? For example, here you have seen that. So it's not necessarily everything go to the same level. If there are some area which you need more, then you can break it down more. But if it is not required, then there is no point of going below it. Okay, it means there is no outcome, then it is no need of going below it. So that is what it is required. So these are the things which we need to consider from the WBS perspective as a generic terms. What is WBS, how it is created, and all those things in SAP that we will go into the next one. So these are the things which we need to have a general idea. Now, when we go into SAP, okay, from the SAP perspective, this is an SAP perspective. Basically, in SAP, we call it as a basic data or master data, whatever you can call it. Okay, so the basic data are WBS elements and activities. This is the basic WBS element activities in a SAP perspective. Okay, and the relationship which is shown 1:n. One WBS element can have multiple activity assigned to it. Okay, this just keep it in your mind. We will come to it later in detail. So now, when you are talking about work breakdown structure from an SAP perspective, okay, from when we're talking about a generic, it is a level 1, level 2, level 3, like that is just a structuring of a project. But when it comes to SAP, there is something comes extra to it. Okay, there is something we call it as a project definition. So what does that mean? Because in SAP, a WBS means it will have a project definition, then it will have multiple elements, WBS elements, and this all together is known as work breakdown structure. Okay. So project definition is part of WBS, and one piece of it, normally we call it WBS, but it is the real term is WBS element. So WBS means everything including this. So project definition means this is normally will get confused even with the people who is already dealing with Primavera or MS project and all those things. In those software, we don't have this concept of project definition is not there. Okay. So here in SAP, each project, if you want to default the values, default the configuration. For example, you have configured certain settings. That is the way the default value need to come, and this is the rules you need to follow. Like that, you define it, you configure it from a consulting perspective. Then that is which is defaulting from the project domain. So this is a framework. This is the overall framework. That is a project definition. We'll give it to the project. So that is giving as a control parameter for your entire WBS element, the rest of the project object. So that is what project definition will do it. So project definition will be there. This is something extra coming when you are comparing to other softwares, but that is required as a technically that is a part of SAP. So that is how SAP projects are structured. It will start with the project definition. Then under project definition, we create WBS element. So as far as our WBS element concept is concerned, we call it as a root level. So it will be the first one, then level 2, then level 3. So normally what we keep is the project definition. When you're talking about a numbering logic, we use the same number of project definition and level 1 WBS as same, because as far as the WBS structure is concerned, this is what the highest level, and all the cost, because this project will not carry any cost or anything, okay, because it's not a cost object, it's only just a technically controlling project controlling and controlling parameters on. So cost object is the WBS element. So normally the level 1 WBS is representing your overall scope of the project, not the project definition. Okay, that's you need to understand. So level 1 is the one which is representing your overall scope. Then level 2 together, which is considering your phase and methodology. Then the rest of the WBS, how you are going to make it. Now there are different way of creating WBS element, okay, which we call it as direct methods, which means you can create it with using different transactions. You can create directly. Then there is indirect method. This is again what we call it as a create a network. So this is something which is additional functionality available in SAP. For example, when you create a sales order, then automatically a project creates in the backend, and those kind of facilities also there. That okay, we will talk about later. So that is also a method is available. Then also you can do create manually by copying a template. So what is template means? For example, certain companies are handling some 2-3 types of projects, and these projects are repeated in nature. So what we will do, we will create and keep the template. So as a reference, we call it as a standard WBS element. So whenever you are going to create a project, you can just copy from that. Then you can add or delete, maybe if 1 or 2 structures are there. But if you want to add and delete too much, then it's better not to go for that, because there is no, it will not give you any benefit. What is the benefit? What we are talking about is if you are using a template, means that it will save your time for creation. So these are the different methods available for creation. Okay, we will look into that system. Now, what we are talking about is what is the use of the WBS element, why we are using the WBS element. So the use in WBS element, this is purely SAP perspective. Okay, we are not talking about what we are talking about the generic one. From the WBS, what is in SAP which is used, first one is for planning. Okay, you can use for a overall date planning, then you can for cost planning, revenue planning, payments, structure planning, and all those things can be. So different planning can be used. Then you can use it for budgeting. Budgeting is nothing but it's also a kind of plan, but which has a binding. It means it won't allow you to spend more than that. That is also possible. Then you can use the WBS element for execution. It means you can post your actuals. So this is what yesterday we were talking about, the different type of project. If the project type is statistical, then the actual will not be there. Okay, so you just want to remember. So if it's, I mean, we are talking about the real ones, not the statistical. So you can do the actual data. You can record your actual date. You can record your actual cost. You can record your revenue. You can record your payments. All this is possible. Then as a controlling object. So controlling object means CO object. So you can use for account assignment of a purchase order. You can use an account assignment for an order. Order means a plant maintenance order or production order. So this is all possible from the WBS. So these are the use of WBS. Now there is something called operative indicator. So what I will do, I will just show you in the system. Okay. So let's say, for example, the project system normally comes under accounting as well and under logistics also there. So it has both flavor. Okay, it has a logistic flavor also as well as it has accounting flavor. So this comes here under project system. Then, for example, what we are talking about as the project is under project. Then let's say this is a project builder, transaction code CJ20N. Yeah, there are special maintenance functions also available for structure planning, for example. This difference are there. Okay, so let's use this. This is a kind of, we call it as a new transaction. So it has a lot of functions built in together. It's like a project control center kind of concept. So almost everything can be controlled from here. So it is actually similar to other software which SAP has developed this. For example, some other software you'll have a one screen only where you can do many things together. So similar way in CJ20N also that options are there. So let's open an example. So what we are talking about is this is what we call it as a project definition. So this is the project definition which is defaulting the values. Okay. Then this is what we call it as a WBS element. So this is a root level WBS element. Then these are the level 2. Okay. So for example, here we have talking about this project. Then these are the level 2 phase, BBP, realization, go live, project management is there, ad hoc planning is there. Okay. So it doesn't mean that after BBP then you can have a go live. It is not a chronological order. You can keep it anywhere. Okay, but just for understanding easily, we can put it chronological order. But in WBS element, it doesn't mean that if chronological order is nothing. Okay, this is the level 2. Then under level 2, we can have level 3 if it is required. So this is how it looks like. For example, if you go to the WBS structure here, it looks like this. So it is a symbol structure. This is a level 1 and level 2. For example, if I have opened another one, maybe here bigger one is there. Yeah, for example, this. So here, if I look at the structure, you can see here there is also again further expansion is there. See, this is level 3 is also there, level 2 is also there. So this is how the structures what we are talking about, the WBS element. Okay. So for project definition, the WBS element, we have level 1, then level 2. Now,
hi Abdul.
yes.
Can we restructure WBS like in the graphical view?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, can you please
You are saying
show
that
us
you can just move it here and there, right? For example, this one I want to move it. It's gone, right? Assembly is here. Now you want assembly here, it will come.
Okay, here can we change the levels also?
Yeah, you can change it. So there is a connector here. For example, I can move it here.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, if I want to move it here, it will come here. It's all
okay.
possible.
Can we create a new WBS also here?
Yeah, creating also possible here. It is. You can create it, but creating will not be that easy because you have to specify where it has to go and sit.
Okay.
Creation, the other one is better. Here it will not be that easy.
Okay.
Okay. Let me just don't save it. I'm not saving it. Okay. So this is what we're talking about it. Now we'll just go into the next things. There are other details which has something called attributes, and also we call it as operative indicators. This is very important when it comes to a WBS element because it gives the characteristics for the WBS element, how it should behave. Okay. For example, there is something called operative indicators. It is a small checkbox on the WBS element, but the impact is too much. Okay. For example, there are 3 operative indicators. One is called billing element, second one is called planning element, and third one is called account assignment element. Okay. So what does it do? It has different behavior based on that one. For example, if I want to do a posting of revenue, okay, or if I want to link a WBS element account assigned to a sales order, anything related to revenue part, then that WBS element should be marked as a billing element. It means that checkbox or that operative indicators should be active for the WBS element. Okay. Then a planning element. So planning element basically controls, because there are different way of planning the cost in a WBS element. So one way of planning the WBS element plan cost, we call it as a hierarchical planning, or you can say, it's the simplest form, or rough cut planning and all those things. So here, the rough cut planning, you can see, you can plan it in the lowest level and not on the highest level, and those kind of control you can do it. So for that purpose, you can use the planning element. If planning element is not active, then system will not allow you to do a hierarchical cost planning. There are different other methods, so don't confuse with that one. For example, if you're doing a network costing or you're doing something else, then this element planning is not relevant for that. It automatically comes to. But as long as you're going for an hierarchical planning, then it has to be a planning element. So planning element means that operative indicators checkbox to be active, then it will allow. Then the third one is most important one, which we call it as a account assignment element. So if you want to do any kind of posting, okay, any kind of posting, or if you want to use it in assigned to in any other object, even if you want to create the network and activities and under that WBS element, then this WBS element operative indicator should be account assignment element. So account assignment, without account assignment element, you cannot use it for anything. Okay, it will be just information. So that is the purpose, that is the reason mostly what we do when you do the configuration, we say that all the WBS element which is going to create, let it be by default, let it come as account assignment element, because that is how it should be done. But again, there are control. If you want to control the posting, for example, let's say you have 5 levels of WBS element, and you say that all of my costs should be posted only at the lowest level, at the 5th level only. I don't want anybody to post anything on the level 4 or level 3 or level 1 like that. So what you can do, you can remove the account assignment tick there. So nobody will be able to post anything there. Okay, so this way you can control it.
One question, please. If I forget to mark the planning element, can I do it after changing the status of the web, the WBS? Because yes, I did it and I can change it. I'm trying to do it in my test, and it says something that if I change the status, the WBS for created, release, or budget, I cannot flag the planning element anymore.
No, you cannot unplan it, or you can say uncheck it. For example, if you have a certain planning value maintained it, then what happened, that planning element, that operative indicator will become grayed out. But if you did not plan anything, then it will allow you to plan it. I mean, check it, activate it. So if you have already, yes.
Yeah, it's not working. I'm gonna send the screen, and then maybe you can help it, because I flag it, save it, and then I look at the flag. It's not flagged. Okay, it seems that I can't do it anymore.
But it is nothing like that. Okay, anyway, we'll see it in the system here itself. I will show you. Then what we are talking about, there is 2 attributes. There is something called statistical, which this is what we were talking about. If you don't want to post actuals, it is only for informations, then you can use that as a statistical WBS element. Then another attribute which is known as a grouping WBS element. So this is again, grouping is basically comes in a picture whenever you have PPPS integrations. Mostly what happened, let's say your project is a make to order scenario because you are creating, building or manufacturing something as per the order. So here you procure the material for that order, and surely your WBS element will be structured the way that you want to manufacture different product, and you will have a different WBS element representing each product just to control the cost and all those things, budget and all those things. So now when it comes to the material, there is a concept of project stock. Okay, anyway, I'm not going into deep that one. We will have a separate session for that. So the project stock normally sits against a WBS element. Okay, for example, if I buy something here, it will be always under there. If I buy something here, it will be always here. So I cannot move from here to here, here to here like that. It is that way it will be. So now using a grouping WBS, for example, I made this as a grouping WBS element, and if I keep all the stock here, then what happens? System will allow I can issue to here or issue to here. So this kind of flexibility, if it is required, then we need to use a grouping WBS element. So this is what normally we do in the PP integration scenarios. Normally we use that. So this is one another attribute. So statistical, which I said, it is not, if you want to do use it, you don't want to do any kind of actual postings, then you can do that. Then this is just for information purpose, the statistical we can do it. Then the grouping is something for grouping your material components into a certain WBS element, which will give you a flexibility to issue to any WBS element in that project. Then, so I will just show you that in the system. So what we are talking about is this indicators. So these are the indicators: planning element, account assignment element, billing element. So normally what happens, the level 1 will be most of the time as a billing element, where you are going to use your entire revenue will be booked at the project level, and your cost will be bifurcated in the below levels. Okay, then this is what we are talking about, an account assignment element. So all the WBS element, which even if you want to create a network under to it, activity under to it, and it has to be account assignment element. And this is the what planning element you are talking about. Then planning element, what he is saying, that if it is check, uncheck, it is not able to check it and all those things. So I think I have done this. Let me just see. I think this is not okay. While doing the plan cost, I will show you that in detail. Okay, we can check what is your doubt. We can clear it up. So even the operating indicators, you can see it from the graphical way. What you're seeing, that the small boxes under it, this is representing your operative indicator. So here also you can activate, or you can remove it. Just double click, it will remove. If you double click again, it will get activated. Then the grouping one, if you can see here, this is what we are talking about, the grouping WBS element. So it is a grouping WBS element as far as this project is concerned. So here we have different options. Not a grouping WBS element, it will be empty. It is grouping element for all WBS, all materials. Then another one is grouping WBS selected MRP groups. So this is two options are available. How do you want to group it? Okay. So if it is automatic grouping functionality is there during a configuration. So if you do, this one is for an automatic grouping, then automatically the level root 1 WBS element will become a grouping WBS element. So here you can see it is not a grouping. So everything will go, all the stock will go and sit under to it. And as far as the numbering is concerned, as I said, this is a project definition. So the project definition and level 1 WBS element, normally we keep it as the same number. So as you know, from a cost perspective, this level 1 represents your entire project as a WBS perspective. This is not a cost object. You are not going to do any posting here. This is only a controlling from the system control perspective. Don't think, I mean, if finance people are there, when I am saying controlling, they will think from that CEO perspective. I'm not talking about that. Okay. So this is just to give the default values. What are the budget profile, planning profile, this different kind of controlling of the system control. You want to bring it here. So that is what it will create. So defaulting and controlling, which is bring system defaulting and system controlling, is brought through the project definitions.
You are not using S/4HANA environment, are you?
No, this is not an S/4HANA.
Yes. Because one problem I'm facing with the S/4HANA environment that we don't have all the definitions, okay? Controlling area, plant, it's hard to practice. So I'm using the ACC to practice.
Okay, well, no, it is there. No, it is what is the difference? It's all same. In S/4HANA, as far as PS is also concerned, it is PS perspective. There is no difference.
Yes, okay, but okay, we have released you released to us the S/4HANA environment, so I need to use another environment to practice. So okay. One question, just what says I'm dealing with a customer project is the billing element flag set in the first level. That's why I see that's a customer project.
Yes, billing element will be flagged wherever you are going to post your revenues.
And
So
then
most of the time, what happened? A project will be flagged at the end, at the top level, root level, because your billing will be for a total project.
So I can say that it's a custom project because I'm using the billing element flag.
That is one way of you can understand that yes, it is a customer because it's a revenue project. Yeah, you are going to get a revenue, and it will be customer. Surely, customer only will pay you the revenue. Then another also, there are different options are there. For example, the important thing is if you go here and in the control, then we have something called object class also there. So this object class also, again, this is a CEO perspective actually, how the value flow in CEO, that is how it is defining. So basically, overhead projects, we use the object class overhead. Investment, we use the investment. And there is other two, profit or production. So if you are talking about stock and all, your materials are there, then normally we use the production. And if it is only services and you are not dealing with, it's a customer project and with only services, then we use the profit. So this is another area where you will be able to identify if this project is which kind of project it is. We call it as object class. So object class defines it's what kind of project it is, what kind of cost object you are going. Anyway, project definition don't have any meaning for this object class. Surely this object class will be automatically inherited to the WBS element also when you create it. For example, here also it will come. So it is actually automatically inheriting from the project definition. So normally, as a best practice, when you decided what object class you are going to use and all those things, then from the field control, you need to make it as a display only. You should not allow the users to change these things. So this will be defaulted. So you can make it as a display field only, or you can hide the field. No need to. This is not required for a user to make anything there. This is just for a value in the behind which how it is controlling it. Okay, so let's say, then this is what we are talking about, this assigned objects. What are the objects which you can assign to a WBS element? Okay, you can assign a billing plan. Anyway, we'll take into that one. You can assign a milestones. Then you can have an organization assigned to your WBS element. You can have a text assigned to it. You can have investment program item assigned to a WBS. These are different things. Surely more than that, you can assign it to you can have assigned to this orders, you can assign to it, you can have network assigned to it. So many objects you can assign to a WBS element. When you're talking about from the CEO perspective, WBS element normally sits in that hierarchy on a higher level. So basically this is used for many posting kind of things. Then when you have different cost object is used, normally WBS element also there, then it takes the priority. So those kind of things are there. So see, if I don't know if anybody is there from the finance perspective, finance guys are there. So for you, you can just understand the finance people that this WBS element you can consider as a CO object. It means a controlling object where it allows you the postings directly. Now what we are talking about is something called user fields. Okay, so the user fields is there which SAP has given for each WBS element, where if in case if you want to add any other details other than what SAP has given. So I will just explain directly in the system. For example, if the WBS elements are there, in this WBS element, these are the fields which is standard fields. Okay. Then there is a custom enhancement is there. This is something which you need to do it through the ABAP coding. The code changes. There are user exit available. Using that user exit, you can enhance it and you can add your own field here. Okay. Now, in case if you don't want to do any kind of customization, any kind of ABAP code changes, then what you can do, there is SAP has given a 12 fields, which is called as user fields are given here. So this user fields, you can use it. This names is a configurable. You can use different names. So these are, there are text. This is a text, I mean, or you can say character field. This is also character. Then this is the number field, and this is the unit of measurement. And these are the numbers, or you can say currency. Then this is the currency field like that. And there is a date. So there is to date, and you have different checkbox, you know, like that. This is given, SAP has given fields. This is, you can change it to project also. How it can be changed means there is something called a field key. So for example, if I use a different field key here, so you can see that, you know, that names will differ. So here the field key can be defaulted. So based on the field key, the names will change, keeps on changing it. You can see that when I'm changing the field key, this names, because this is a configurable. So this is one functionality available in along with the WBS element as a user field. So this is basically used, for example, if you want to add some additional details which was not there in the system, okay, then you want to bring it from here. This just for using from the consultant perspective. Again, if you have a lot of details which need to be added with a many validation and all those things, then this will not be possible. And that is the area where you need to go for the custom enhancement, where you can add your additional fields.
Abdul, it's Gopi here.
Yeah.
So in the user field, everything is text or something can be configured also, like F4 such. So we have seen in investment management.
That is actually, again, you need to add a small code is there, that search field, you can say that match code is there. That match code you can put it here. For example, here, this match code, I think it is not there. So again, there is a small user exit is there for that. That also, again, you need ABAP coding. If you add that match code here, that match code you can link it with other table. For example, I will say I want to take some other field. Say I want to put the plant number here, something like that. Say I want to put a plant or something like that. Then what you can do, you can link this match code with that. Or you are maintaining some details in a Z table and you want to bring it from there here, then that is possible. There is an exit is available. But again, that is also you require a ABAP coding.
Because of in investment management, when Rama said there is a F4 functionality is available, but when it comes to WBS level, so I didn't find. That's why I asked. Okay.
No. WBS element F4 is available. Here you can see that match code is coming here.
No, it's available, but as Rama said,
but you need to you need to add it.
There is a config itself. We can do it without any customize itself. Sorry, without any things.
Here,
we can configure and dig it into user field.
No, here you need to add it in the match code.
Okay, got it.
You need an ABAP help to add it in because there is an exit there given. You can add it there, so it will come. It's not that complicated coding. It's a simple one, but Again, you know that ABAP key, developer key, and all those things.
Yeah, got it. And this checkbox, how it will help? This checkbox, practically how it works. So
yeah,
only
practically
we
means
can add or anything.
no, practically this is again, for example, if you look at from the table perspective, basically the table for let me just go to S11 so it will be easy. Table for the WBS element is PR or PRPS. Okay, PRPS table. So if you look at the PRPS table, it's all the name will be the same. So it is not changing it. Only the value what you're storing is keeps on changing. It will be user field 1, user field 2. See this one like this. What is that? No. See user. It was there. Just moved. Yeah, this kind of things. User 07, use 06, 008. You know, this is how the table fields are there. So whatever you are storing, it will be stored under this against this field only. But what we can do here, it is just to mask the name. That's it. Just you are masking the name for the end user, the person who is entering the data. You need to understand what you are entering it. But from the technically what is happening, it is storing in the same field in the backend. Okay. So now how it will be practically useful is, for example, like say you want to enter here, say my contract number I want to mention, or I need to say the name of the person or the project manager name I want to mention, something like that. If you want to add it, then you can use these fields. Then checkbox, for example, whether you need to add something like that, whether once you completed the planning, so planning completed, you can put a description like that, then they can put that checkbox, something like that. So it is again situation based. Whenever you are getting some kind of situation, so if it is possible to achieve with the user field, use this one. No need to go for a customization, because what happened, the implementation project, if there is a very tight schedules are there, sometimes it may 4 or 5 months you need to have a complete implementation to be completed. In these kind of scenarios, you will have a lot of pressure to complete it. So it will be easiest things, use whatever is standard available and proceed further. So it will be easy for the to complete it. But if you go for the coding, then you need a lot of testing, and as you know, there will be 1 or 2 ABAPer only for the entire project will be allocated. So they have to do, getting an ABAPer will be another headache, and all those things will be there. So this kind of scenario normally we will use it. But once you are in a company, you are giving internal team and you are giving a support, then you will have your own ABAPer, you will have a lot of time. Then surely nobody will look into these things. They will go for here, then make the field fancy, whatever you want it, whatever the way you look like. You want F4, you want drop down, everything you can do it. So it is again the availability of resource also kind of important for that. So now that's what I just want to see it. So this is the different things. Now the configuration part, I will take it in the next class. Okay. So I will go through that the configuration, and also how to create the standard WBS element, how to copy it, and all those things I will show you, because now I have just shown you the display only. So I will show you the coding mask, these things, and all these things. This is the just for a tips, which is normally SAP says. It's just for a tips for a user perspective. Use coding mask. That's what SAP recommend always. Obviously, you can create project without coding mask also. Define coding mask early on, lock them if required, because there is the difference is there. If you are using a coding mask, then the number what is stored in the table, and if you are creating a project without a coding mask, there is a difference is there, because sometimes the gaps are filled with the zeros if you are using the coding mask. If you are not using the coding mask, that spaces are left empty. So this will create a lot of issue when you are doing, if you are going for some kind of customizations. If you want to do a validation, if you want to do a substitution, or if you want to do a custom, validation and enhancement, reporting, everything will affect with coding mask and without coding mask. So you have to decide at the early of your project or implementation whether you are going with coding mask or without coding mask. SAP recommends with coding mask. So if you are with coding mask, there is a lot of advantage. mistakes will be less. You can derive the hierarchy automatically. So many things are there. But without coding mass also you can go. For example, where the coding mass without coding mass will work perfect is, for example, in your company you have a lot of department, lot of everybody want to use a project in their own way, represent it, their own numbering need to be used. Then coding mask will become a constraint, because coding mask has certain limitations, right? You can, one letter you can use only once, the same letter you cannot repeat, so there are certain rules are there. So there is a constraint is there from the coding mask. So for example, if you don't have that kind of complexity in your organization, then using the coding mask is always better. Then WBS element belongs to one project definition, they cannot be assigned to another project definition later. Obviously, that is true. Specify who is responsible for the various WBS element, you can put the responsibility. Then what they say, don't use more than 10,000 WBS element, otherwise system performance may suffer. Okay, HANA is also there, but still we had a recent issues with experience with SAP. Even the same thing, there was a 13,000 objects was there. Even on HANA suite, I'm saying. So same, SAP was saying no, more than 10,000 is SAP, the performance issue will become. So don't think that HANA will remove.
Yeah, here is Gopi. So basically, I have two questions with respect to coding mask and project. So
we will do
the coding mask.
No problem. We will take it. Coding mask, I will do it here. I will explain to you in the system.
No, that's okay. Basically, actually, I'm working in one of the project now. So it's mandatory I have to go to coding mask because of we also integrating MS project into my SAP. Okay. So basically what happens using whatever you said, EPC connector, something, we almost some off of the way we have done the configuration. So it's a very valuable question because of I'm facing lots of issue. Maybe it's not suitable for others, but it's related to PS. So the problem is the project which is I defined with special character like slash dot something. But when we transfer the project to SAP to MSP, okay, what is happening? It is not recognizing. Because of that, so I could not able to transfer my project, or else without a slash something, if I'm creating the project, in that case, I can able to transfer the project to MSP. So, but with some special
from the
character.
EPC you're saying?
Yeah,
because this one slash or hash, those things Microsoft will not support.
But in this case, how we can differentiate? Because of without slash or something, we could not able give more differentiate with the project like 001, 002 something. So that's really
you can put dash. You can put dash. Dash no is no problem, right? You can put dot.
So dash also not accepting. Any special character it is not accepting. Only
no, it will accept. It will accept it. So you need to ask that EPC coding XML guy. He has to do that. It will accept because what happened when you're transferring a project from SAP to EPC? In EPC, you have a custom fields are getting generated automatically, right? In the MS project side as well as in Primavera side. So in the custom, in that custom field, there will be a WBS element field will be there. WBS code field will be there. So that custom code normally in Microsoft, there is two things will not accept. One is hash and another one is this slash, I think forward slash or backward slash. Rest everything is accepted.
Even dot it is not accepting. Basically what happened, so I have created the project in MSP, not even SAP also. The same thing I try to replicate in SAP.
No, but in MSP you don't need to keep the code as it is. No, you can use the code as in the custom field. You can assign to it. For example, MS project numbering. Anyway, MS project there is no numbering. Numbering is automatically system gives 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That number is automatically.
So because basically what happened, we have a project server and a project version. So it will create
everything. Even in MS project, it creates the number is actually the task number on the left side. What you are seeing, that is a number. The rest is all what you are just specifying as a text. So even that there is a custom field comes, and then the custom field dash you can use it because I have used it. That won't be of any problem. So only thing is the person, the EPC person, there is a mapping is there, XML mapping is there. In that XML mapping, you can ask them to see whether it's any issues there or not. Because there is a XML coding is there for mapping it, because that there you can correct it.
Okay.
Because
I'll check and come.
slash and hash, yes, there is an issue, which I agree with you. But dash and dot,
Not
there
on
is no
slash and
issue.
dash, many things. Basically, I cross-checked. Even I checked with SAP also on this. So
Yeah,
in MSP, I try to create the same thing. It is not accepting because of each and every project name. Even MSP have the title of the project name. Inside that, if I go, I can send the data from SAP, all the data. But project with coding mask, something slash, it is not accepting. So that's what I came to know. Something if you've done, it would be.
There is a slash. Yes, I agree with you. But dash, there is no issue. We are using.
Okay, let me check.
We
Hyphen or
have.
something, whether it is
I used it. Yeah, I used it.
Okay, let me check and confirm.
Yeah. Okay. The
Thanks,
various WBS. Okay. So this is what we were talking about. Don't use more than 10,000 objects WBS element in a project. It's a recommendation of the various WBS7 activities should cover the entire scope. This is all we discussed. Okay, this keep the structure simple. So this is what I said. Don't use it so many, and this is the objective you need to consider when you are creating the WBS element. So this one we will do it in the next class, creating the standard WBS operative, changing and all those things. Okay. Then we will take, if you have any doubt extra on this one, we will take it in the next class. So for today, I'm just closing the session. So next class is on Saturday, right? So Saturday evening we'll have, we'll discuss in detail the creation. Okay. I think the theoretically I have covered what is WBS element. So similarly, like Gopi is asked if you have any doubt on from your real project, also we can, relevant to this topic, okay, we can discuss that one, because surely we will be covering one by one. So later on we have additional questions related to that topic, and we can discuss on that topic. So again, from the coding mask dash, I have used Copy, so maybe you can just check it with that one. So slash, yes, I agree with you. Slash and hash, there are issues with that, because that is not an issue of SAP. Yeah, not an issue of an SAP. It is an issue of a Microsoft. Even
correct, exactly.
Yeah, when you are exporting to Excel, I maybe you might have experienced this, some of you. When you are exporting some custom report to Excel, then Excel will not open, because there is something called a non-breaking space. There is a concept called non-breaking space. So this non-breaking space is a different ASCII code. So SAP accept it. SAP, whether breaking space or non-breaking space, non-terminating space, there are two, three kinds of spaces are there. You know, if you are just pressing a space bar, it creates a space, but a shift space bar, it creates something, control space or something like that. It is a create a different ASCII codes for that. So in this one of the space which Excel never understand that. So what happens here? So whenever you copy paste from Word or something like that, you know, that word to the SAP long text, then when you try to export this into Excel, then Excel will not open. So I don't know whether you have faced this or you will face these issues. So that is, again, it is not from SAP issues, it is a Microsoft limitations. But what we need to make sure that always better any character. This has happened sometimes. People will copy paste something from web or from the website to the long text. Then this creates the issue. So even if you are copy pasting, first you copy paste into your notepad, then from notepad you copy paste to your SAP. So this issue will not be there. Okay, then thank you. Then see you in the next class. Good night.